Memory is a funny thing. Recalling an event can bring on such a strong emotional reaction that it is like the event is happening all over again. You turn over some memories in your mind like a pebble in a stream. Eventually, all the roughness can fade away and leave behind a polished remnant of the real world, and that remnant can be something good or something bad. Two people can experience the same event and come away from it remembering things very differently. We like to think of reality as this fixed thing that everybody is experiencing the same way we are, but that's unfortunately not true. Something as fickle as whether or not you like somebody can entirely change your perception of how or why they do things. And how you feel about that person changing over time can affect your memory in ways you don't even realize. Lost Records' Bloomin' Rage is many things. One theme that runs through tapes 1 and 2 is memory. The prospective character, Swan Holloway, starts the story by arriving at a get-together with some of her old childhood friends at the Blue Spruce Bar in the small Michigan town of Velvet Cove. Swan is beset by flashbacks that last long periods of time. They are flashbacks to things she had largely or entirely forgotten about. When she finally sits down with her friend Autumn at the Blue Spruce, she discovers that her friend is experiencing them too. They both wonder at how strange it is to have forgotten all of their good memories along with the bad ones. A mysterious package was left on the doorstep of Autumn's mother, still a Velvet Cove resident after all this time. The package is covered in bizarre drawings and the words "Bloomin' Rage" and "You Must Remember." The newspaper wrappings are all dated to the year they met, and the box itself is locked with a special lock that cannot be opened until the reunited friends remember what they have forgotten. Gameplay in this game is similar to other Don't Nod games, a lot of walking around and picking things up to examine them. What's interesting to me this time around is the addition of commentary from the present-day characters on the things they are remembering together. We shift back and forth between the present in the 2020s and the summer of 1995. Sometimes a shift back to the present will only be long enough to get a laugh from Autumn or Swan before we are zipped back to the hazy sunshine of a lazy summer day in their childhood. Something I tried to keep in mind on a second playthrough of this game was that what we are seeing for most of the runtime is not how things actually were in 1995. We are seeing how Swan remembers this last summer with people who finally accepted her before her family moved to a different country and she became a loner again. What happened after adds a bittersweet layer to the memories for the player. The Swan of the past doesn't know yet how far apart they would all drift, but present Swan, and thus the player, does have that information. When I first got to walk through Swan's bedroom, I was hit with wave upon wave of nostalgic feelings. Her room is a perfect construction of everything that a nostalgia-obsessed millennial would salivate over. The pencil cases, the Tamagotchi, the movie rental clamshell VHS cases. Swan's love for and missing of that safe haven in her youth have turned it into this idyllic memory, a safe place she will return to as things degrade around her and her new friends. The room itself becoming less welcoming and homey as the reality of her move and the fleeting nature of this brief period of time sets in. It results in this strange sense of nostalgia for her regarding the things she is currently living through. She loves her time with these girls, but the threat of her move is looming over them all and giving the time an edge of sadness. Nostalgia is a funny thing. It is generally understood to be a positive feeling about a time in the past tinted with sadness at what you lost getting to the present. Playing on the nostalgia of a demographic can be a guaranteed financial success in the media landscape because as the world continues to plod onward through time, more people reach the age where you start to miss little things about growing up. New Star Wars movies will always make money because so many age groups have nostalgia for a version of that story that was told to them in their youth through movies, cartoons, or now live-action TV shows. Nostalgia is also very easy to exploit. It can be wielded as a tool to get you to feel an emotional connection with something before you know much about it, which is an invaluable tool for storytelling and getting a player invested right away, but it can also become boring very quickly. Bloomin' Rage is the in-universe name of the Riot Grrrl punk band made up of two girls playing instruments, Autumn and Nora, and the other two to hype them up, Swan and Kat. Autumn Lockhart is one of the only black people in Velvet Cove. She is the responsible one, and in the present talks about her desire to fit in as a kid and be the model minority. In the present, she is a social worker with a kid of her own. Nora Malakian is a very gay, closeted teen with a punk aesthetic and a deep need to be seen and loved after her mom walked out of her life to go live in Los Angeles, leaving her with her largely absent father and new stepmother. In the present, Nora is a fashion influencer. All signs of her rebellious youth have disappeared behind the new glossy facade. Swan Holloway is the awkward kid who likes horror movies and bugs and being alone. In the present, she works at a local bookstore in her small Canadian town and is writing her own book. Kat Michelson is the daughter of a local family that owns the Michelson Deer Ranch, a place where deer are bred and raised to be hunted by paying customers. In the present, Kat is absent. Don't worry, each of these girls will be getting their own video. Tape 1 of this story is labeled Bloom. In it, we see the girls meet and become friends. They bond over their shared outcast status and band together to fight back against the bullying of others. The blooming friendship between them all makes the title characteristically on the nose for Don't Nod, as is the focus of the second chapter, Rage. Bloom shows us a past set in the hazy golden summer of 1995, and in the present, everything is almost painfully dull in comparison. Swan and Autumn are the first to arrive to their rendezvous, and their conversation starts out awkward and slow. Each of them feeling out the other person, this stranger who they remember loving in the past but feel disconnected from in the now. Awkwardness practically oozes from the screen. The bar owner and his friend Pat are both happy to hear about this night being a reunion of sorts. They are glad to see people making time to reconnect in this post-pandemic world. And that's another thing. The recent global pandemic very much lives on in the narrative of this game. Swan has a mask in her car, and the bar has hand sanitizer and masks at the door. The pandemic itself caused a lot of nostalgia for a time before. When? I don't know, just before. Before the lost lives, before the isolation, before the very public revelations of how many people refuse to do the bare minimum to exist in a society simply because they don't like being told they should do anything. Physical isolation and later reconnecting is something everyone had to deal with to some extent in the real world. Lost Records chooses to use this as a way to explore nostalgia and whether or not things were truly better or just different. The night the girls all meet, they stay out late into the evening looking for Autumn's lost keys in a derelict playground. Swan and Autumn from the present insert their thoughts on this turning point in their childhood. How angry they were at the bully Corey Litchfield, who threw the keys in the first place. He is the boyfriend of Kat's older sister Dylan, and he sucks. Present Autumn comments on how scared she was in general, despite her calm exterior. They don't know it yet, but the abandoned playground around them is a sign of things to come in their lives. Where there should be children happy and playing, there are instead weeds and rust, cracked pavement and trash. The remnants of childhood. Memories of innocence coexisting with the stark reality of the inexorable progression of time. The loss we experience as we grow up and first encounter a more complex world with responsibilities and tragedy. But that isn't yet what the girls see. To them, they are on an adventure, albeit a kind of spooky one, to find the keys and celebrate their victory over a bully. These early days, the four of them often overlook the darker undertones of the world around them. They are so lost in the joy of friendship and feeling independent that they go along with things that may have scared them off before. Kat approaches life with a zeal and carelessness the other girls don't fully understand. She wants to do everything right now. Her and Swan both have a ticking clock in the back of their minds. So Swan is often willing to jump in with whatever Kat wants to do so she can have these experiences before leaving. Kat wants to have them before she loses the chance entirely. There's an ominous mood that starts to haunt the girls once they find their cabin in the woods. Something deeper than the fear they have for Corey. They make the cabin a hideout and name it to really feel like it is theirs. I always pick Fawn's Rest, so that's what I'm going to call it from here on out. Sorry if you're more of a Fawn's Curse girly. They are drawn to a fairy ring where they sing their curse on Corey and seal their bond with a blood pact. Even Autumn joins in after hesitating. She doesn't want to feel left out or hurt Kat, who this is clearly very important to. They enjoy more of their dreamy summer, and when the abyss appears in place of the fairy ring, they make offerings to it and ask for a gift. Fame, strength, and togetherness, the things they hope will bring them joy and fulfillment. This is the line for Autumn, and honestly, who can blame her? so she does not join in. But this turning point has brought the background anxiety to the front. The final set piece for Bloom is the Bloomin' Rage concert outside the Blue Spruce. Oh my God. Something about that sentence was really hard for me to get out, and I had to do so many takes of it, so enjoy. The final set piece for Bloom is the Bloomin' Rage concert outside the Blue Spruce. There's a lot of B's in that sentence. We get this final sequence of the girls rolling up like a music video. Outfits on point and makeup slaying no matter what look you choose. This is how Swan remembers it, how beautiful and powerful they all were. In the present, Nora has finally shown up and is reluctant to talk about any of this. Her memories of what came next have poisoned her recollection of this entire part of her life. She regrets agreeing to do the show, as if somehow not doing it would have changed anything, would have held off the coming reality check. When Kat collapses, the triumphant moment of the girls playing their curse directly to the face of its target is ripped away. Her sister Dylan revealing Kat has leukemia and is running out of time acts as the end of the episode. The other 3 girls are left holding the bag as Kat is rushed to the hospital, their costumes and music seeming childish and stupid in the light of cold reality. The bloom is off the rose of their friendship, and all of them must now confront the specter of death in a way most kids don't encounter till much later. How can they go on together, knowing there will be a cat-shaped hole in their lives, and there's nothing they can do to change it? Anyway, that about does it for part 1 of my Bloomin' Rage series. There will be a separate episode for part 2, and then individual character videos after. I really wanted to explore the concept of nostalgia and loss of innocence that I picked up on in this part of the game. I remember picking it up and feeling giddy walking around Swan's room. I was so excited. I saw all these things that were also mine in the 90s, down to a black cat. Mine was named Spooky. Hey, the name wasn't my idea. He was my little buddy and my best friend, though. I noticed how strongly I was affected by all these trappings of nostalgia, by Swan and my own struggles being a fundamentally introverted person who becomes more social in the presence of people I really vibe with. My brother and I even used to grab stuff from the dumpster area of our apartment building and set it up in this little fenced-in area by a nearby 7-Eleven. It was our little fawn's rest, despite how much we fought at that point in our lives. Our independent piece of the world. I haven't fully figured out how I will be approaching the Rage chapter yet. I've got a lot of it myself, so maybe I'll just scream into a mic for 15 minutes. In my character study videos, I will be taking a lot from things I briefly touched on here, so it may sound a bit repetitive in the setup, but it will have to be to make sure each video can stand on its own and as part of the series. For example, I will be going much further into Autumn's characterization, her adultification due to her existence as a black girl in a largely white small town, and how that contributes to everything she does. If you played this game, I would love to see your thoughts in the comments. Who's your favorite? Would you have done the Blood Pact? How long does it take you to get the full version of See You in Hell out of your head? I'm going on a week straight, but I've been replaying to record footage and take more notes, so I may not be a great judge of how catchy the song actually is. I want to give a special shout out to my patron and dear friend Red5 for their patience in listening to me ramble about this game and also contributing greatly to everything here. The bit about the park representing lost innocence was originally a note they left on the script document after reading a partial draft. I would also like to thank Kathy for my ending music and all my current and former patrons. Sam, Raccoon in the Distance, Langolier, Epic Otters, Sean M. Dudley, Sarah B., Arachnalo, Olivia Kenny, Red, Tamara Larimore, Dustin Clemens, Bruce Conrad, and Pink Leisha. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.